From the truly inspiring temples of Angkor, we've travelled to the heaving capital of Phnom Penh for another slice of this extraordinary country, which I'm getting my first glimpse of from the back of a cyclone. The name itself just sounds exotic, doesn't it? Phnom Penh. This is how an Asian capital should be. Humid, hectic, chaotic and charismatic. It's got that classic clash of Asian flavours of simmering street stall and open drain, of motorcycle madness and Mekong River majesty, all wrapped up in a fearless combination of fabulous architecture. One part French and one part fall down. Our first destination is one you'll find on all those lists they call must-see. The Royal Palace, right on the riverfront. Built in the late 19th century when Cambodian kings rode around on elephants, the creators of this place decided to pay homage to Cambodia's other most worshipped structure, Angkor Wat, and so knocked up this pint-sized model of it in the courtyard. Well, the king's got it sorted. Over here is his private residence, which we're not allowed to shoot. Perhaps his radiance would overpower our lens. This is where he kept his private transport, the elephants. Over here, the Moonlight Pavilion, where the king enjoys a cocktail and does some dancing. Around the corner here is the private dining room, which he shares with dignitaries and overseas guests. And in here, the #1 seat in the country, the throne room. And like any throne, you shouldn't be shooting that either. But downtown at the Russian market, I'm beginning to realise why cyclos are the preferred way of getting around. In a place where there's no method to the traffic, only madness, the art of negotiating it is that there is no art. You've just got to be bold, fearless even, take life into your own hands and perhaps say a little prayer. With some of Cambodia's finest now gloriously lodged in the memory bank, it's time to head southeast to Vietnam in the best possible way imaginable, aboard a luxury scenic Mekong River Cruise. The lifeblood of Phnom Penh is the Mekong, the river the Vietnamese call the River of Nine Dragons, and it's the mighty Mekong that's now going to take us into Vietnam. It's long been an ambition of mine to cruise the great rivers of the world, but so far I've only managed to tick off a few: the Thames, the Yarra, and a suitably brief stint along the Parramatta, so it's fabulous to be here finally, and even better to be cruising the mighty Mekong in luxury and style. This is the beginning of a 4-night journey along the section of the majestic Mekong that flows between Cambodia and Vietnam. Why do you think so many people are interested in river cruising now?
River cruising is great. I mean, it's intimate, it's small. I've done a few river cruises and this is really unique in a lot of different ways.
Why is that?
I guess because it's small, there's only 30 cabins, and the food's been great. Just really relaxing to sit back and watch life go by in Asia, and really see the locals out working.
Have you been into Vietnam before?
Yes, I have, I've travelled through Vietnam. Yeah, fabulous.
So maybe you could tell me what I should expect.
What should you expect? The food, once again, is wonderful. The people are great. A lot of history there with the war. But if you went further north, beautiful beaches as well. Yeah, stunning.
With so much to look forward to, we hit the border with surprisingly little fanfare. When a kingdom such as Cambodia there shares a border with a communist country such as Vietnam here, you'd expect an area of no man's land, wouldn't you? Of razor wire, armed patrol, sniffer dogs, searchlights. At the very least, a gunship or two, but no, not here on the Mekong, where life is very much more laid back. To begin the whole border crossing process, we must first wait for the mechanic in the little workshop over there to fire up the putt-putt, which delivers the solitary customs official to the ship to begin the rubber stamping. Meanwhile, we have another glass of champagne, or two. French, I believe. People talk about the comfort and convenience of river cruising, of unpacking only once, of having the hotel room deliver you to each destination, as it were, but it's more than just that. It reveals a slice of life that you wouldn't normally see, a chance to look over the back fence at life and culture as it really is, rather than how it might otherwise be superficially presented. And since rivers offered some of the earliest forms of transport, the riverfront is where the history lies. The comforts and convenience are worth a mention, though. This is no ordinary cruise. The rooms are luxurious, the food is gourmet all the way, and the feeling is such that you'd swear you were afloat in a five-star hotel. But since this is perhaps Asia's greatest river, the emphasis is to really experience the remarkable waterway where 60 million people live, work and play. Not far from the Cambodian border is our first stop in the town of Tan Chau, where it's near impossible to miss the waterfront temple. Wow, Nam, it's very colourful. What is the religion here?
This is we call the Khao Dai religion.
Khao Dai?
Khao Dai. It is 100% Vietnamese religion found in 1920s. The religions here is Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. And with two big philosophies, Taoism and Confucianism.
So all of them are involved in this?
All of them involved that. Why is that? Because the founder of the religion would believe that he had seen so many people in fighting in the war, and it was no need to have so many people die of the war.
According to our guide Nam, the bright colours represent the different religions and philosophies. Yellow for Buddhism, blue for Taoism, and red for Confucianism. And given that the locals are clearly very content, this merging of religions seems to be having the desired effect.
Bye.
Rickshaws are at the ready for a rollicking journey through a town you'd normally never get the chance to visit. You're unlikely to find Tan Chau in Lonely Planet, making this a magnificently remote place to discover. Not quite sure what the joke is, but every time we go past these people on the side of the road, they point and laugh. Hello! Hello! Then it's back on the sampans to visit some residents, taking waterfront living to a new level. These houses here, they're floating, are they?
Yes, they are.
People are living in those, or
Yes.
is there industry in here?
Exactly. They are actually living in these houses. They are both fish farm and the houses.
It's no surprise that Vietnam is the world's leading exporter of fish. This is the pink carp, not only a major protein source for the locals, but at around $2 a kilo, a major income source as well. Hey, hey!
Bravo.
Look at that, can I have
This is about 600 gram fish.
Okay, so
600 grams. So they still keep up for 1 or 2 more months.
They're going to fatten it up
When
some
about
more.
700 or 800 grams, it's ready to go.
It's a good-looking fish. All we need now is that classic Australian staple, the minimum of chips.
It's a very big island, actually.
Because of its number of tributaries that drain into the sea, the Vietnamese call the Mekong the River of Nine Dragons. Here, numerous other tributaries snake their way around small islands, some of which have only recently been connected to electricity. Did you ring ahead? Do they know we're coming? So the people that live on this island here, do they work off the island, or do they ever go off the island?
Most of people have never been out of this island. They've been living here for many generations, just doing this growing thing. This more like self-sufficient life.
Yes. If the locals seem interested in us, it's because, again, this is nowhere near the well-trodden tourist trail.
This is the owner of the house, and he's in the most traditional
How do you do?
color. Chào bác, chào chú.
Yeah.
Chúng con đến thăm nhà bác tí. Mời
This,
bác
this
lên.
is his house?
Yeah. Dạ, vâng, chào lên. This is his house, yes.
Right. He's got the television going and everything.
Yeah. This is quite above standard family because they have electricity, because they have the TV, because they have very nice furniture, very nice stuff in here.
And
like
and a shrine?
the shrine for
that's-
worshipping the ancestors and such player.
And what I love is the television's on,
Yes?
but the daughter is sitting over here doing the homework.
Yeah.
That's rare to see. After a warm welcome, it's time for an even warmer goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to meet you. See, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier, the very essence of river cruising. The ability to have such personal access to these people is wonderful. And how would you ever know that such industry was taking place and being done so joyously? I mean, they're remarkable people. Their happiness is infectious. And you know what? I doubt any of them have ever experienced any stress whatsoever. We're currently cruising the mighty Mekong in fabulously laid-back luxury, ready for our next port of call. The Mekong carries everything along: straw huts, forests, burned-out fires, dead birds, dead dogs, drowned tigers and buffaloes, drowned men, bait, islands of water hyacinths all stuck together. Everything flows toward the Pacific. No time for anything to sink. All is swept along by the deep and headlong storm of the inner current, suspended on the surface of the river's strength. So wrote Marguerite Duras in her acclaimed novel, L'Amante, The Lover. In the early 1900s, Marguerite Duras grew up alongside the Mekong in the town of Sardec, and Scenics guide Nam's tour of the town visits the house of her Chinese lover, where their fraught affair began. The novel makes it obvious that the relationship between Huynh Thuy Le and Marguerite Duras was uneasy, difficult, complex and doomed. But upon seeing the wealth displayed here, it was clearly an added seduction. At the time of their affair, 1929-1930, Huynh Thuy Le was the extremely cashed-up landlord, owning 2/3 of this town. The thriving Sardec markets have been around for almost 200 years, and although a lot of this produce is brought in by boat, like everywhere in Asia, it inevitably ends up on the ubiquitous motorbike to be driven right through the centre of everything. Boy, if you ever had a desire to be killed by produce, this would be the place. There's so much stuff.
Exactly.
Running around here on the backs of motorcycles. I've never seen so much produce on a motorcycle.
Right.
It's unbelievable. This is all fresh. This is all
fresh. All
picked
grown
locally.
around here. Yeah. Yes, that just picked this early this morning.
Wow.
And people all carry on the scooter or boat to this market.
There's some pretty hectic negotiation going on over these cucumbers here. At the moment it sounds quite angry, but that might just be the language. Further up here, there's the wet market as well.
The wet market is up there.
So that's meat and fish.
Fish, live fish, all the stuff fresh. Yeah.
The wet markets are even more lively. When they say fresh, they're not kidding.
Alive frogs, 100%, caught just last night, all in the market.
Okay, that's all getting a bit much for me now. That'd be the French influence, wouldn't
Very good, in the restaurant.
In a nearby shop, more delicacies to give even the strongest of stomachs the screaming heebie-jeebies. This is the cobra in the rice wine. It's Vietnamese Viagra. It has the men rising like a cobra. I guess it's not surprising in a city crammed with people and choked with traffic that its residents look for some form of release, such as Tai Chi, exercise, the Spider Woman twerk, the I had too many drinks last nights, Tarzan rub and oceanless paddle. And then there's the sit and think with a nice hot drink while Budgie takes a warble. It's all very peaceful and pleasant, but this city wasn't always quite so peaceful. After exploring Vietnam from a Mekong perspective, it's time to jump ship and continue our scenic journey into the heart of this country and the frenzied cities of Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi. But not before visiting a location that played a significant part in shaping modern Vietnam. It was the mid-60s, the height of the Vietnam War. The communist Viet Cong had pushed down from the north of the country and held this area here, not 2 hours from Saigon, the capital of US-backed South Vietnam. And despite the military might in the area, the US just couldn't work out why they weren't winning the war here. They brought in manpower, artillery, equipment, jets, B-52s, and threw everything at an enemy they couldn't find. And the Viet Cong just kept mounting surprise attacks and then disappearing again. while the Allies, up above, wiped out the rice fields, bulldozed the bush, burnt the villages, and brought Agent Orange and napalm into the equation in what was known as the most bombed, shelled, gassed, defoliated, and generally disadvantaged area of warfare in the history of warfare. The Viet Cong remained down here, planning their next attack. Around 50 kilometres northwest of Ho Chi Minh City, the Cu Chi tunnels have been preserved by the Vietnamese government as a tourist attraction and reminder of their 1975 victory. The sophisticated 250-kilometre network of tunnels was built over 25 years, starting somewhere in the 40s. But they were more than just a network of tunnels. They provided a whole way of being for the Viet Cong. Where are we now?
Now we are inside the kitchen.
Kitchen?
Yes.
So they had kitchens. What else did they have? The dining rooms?
Dining room, medical room, fighting bunker. They make all of the bunker connect the tunnel system when guerrilla hiding and fighting.
So there were tunnels that connected all these kinds of rooms?
Yes.
And the tunnels went down deeper?
When Cu Chi guerrilla dig in the tunnel, we dig 3 different levels. Now you are on the first level, only for fighting.
Yep.
Deeper more, 6 meter deep.
Yep.
Cu Chi guerrilla is used for hiding.
Yep.
And deeper more, 10 meter anti-bomb level.
Anti-bomb level,
Yes.
so they couldn't be bombed down there.
Yes.
The resourceful Viet Cong even built trapdoors to ambush the Americans, and booby traps. If you can imagine this without the butcher's window grass, you can imagine just how lethal this would be. You don't need to be prone to claustrophobia to experience just how unpleasant life in the tunnels would have been for the tens of thousands of Vietnamese who lived, fought and died down here. Gee, you'd want to be very dedicated to the cause or desperate to do that. It is so tight and confronting down there. I'm way too big and way too paranoid for all of that.